Hey guys, just here to talk a little bit about Jacob DeGrom's mechanics today. Coming back from UCL injury, all smiles as you can see there. Um, One thing I noticed that I'm starting to see more people do is a pretty pronounced step right here. You can see that he's really putting that foot in the ground flat to feel stability into his delivery. So he wants to feel his foot flush to the ground, and he wants to feel his weight equally distributed throughout his whole foot for as long as possible. Okay? And this position right here helps you do that. Keeping your knee stacked over your ankle for as long as possible throughout your delivery until it's time to fire. And if you can see, as he goes down the mound, it stays tall until boom, the hips are ready to fire and he's ready to go into delivery, right? Now, this is very important because keeping your foot flush to the ground allows us to stay in a strong enough position to hold our weight down the mound, okay? It allows us to stay back and then explode when it's time to deliver, okay? A lot of what I see working with youth pitchers is they get onto their toe. At this point, you'll see the heel um, up off the ground already, and the knee will be lower, poking out over the toe. You'd be able to see it better from the back, but that would suggest that the athlete is being quad dominant and inconsistent. Okay, if you're standing on one foot, what's more consistent? Are you gonna stand on one foot with your whole foot on the ground, or are you gonna try and balance on your tippy toe? Right. I think you're gonna stand with one foot on the ground, completely flat, and you'll have a better chance of balancing that way. That's because that's more stable, it's stronger, and it's more consistent. If you went up on your tippy toe, you would see inconsistent movements, you would feel weak, and I mean that's what we're going for here is glute dominance. Is we need to keep that knee stacked over the ankle for as long as possible, and when that happens, typically you'll see that hip hinge right there. And again, it's not like that for everybody. If you look at a guy like Tyler Glass now, you won't necessarily see like this angle here. It will look more like that. His leg would be straight, but he would still have a hinged hip, okay? And I think that's important to note because it doesn't work the same for everybody, but what everybody is trying to do is trying to remain stable, strong, and consistent on their drive leg. So they're strong enough to hold their body weight down the mound and transfer energy late, explosive, and efficient. Okay. And this is a good position right here. This is a bullpen. Clearly, you can see the stands are empty. So I could also tell by the lead leg block that DeGrom has. It's pretty good. I mean, but it's not how you throw 102. Maybe he's normally got a better one. If there was a hitter in the box, he'd be almost hyperextending. His knee would be like in this way, and so this is a product of good energy transfer, a good lead leg block, okay? And that can only happen, excuse me, that can only happen if we do this step well, okay? If we can keep our weight back well, then we're going to have an easier time lead leg blocking, okay? And this is really how you stop your momentum from going forward and transfer energy throughout the baseball. But if an athlete is quad dominant and their heel is not flush to the ground for as long as possible, right? They're not getting to a good hinge position. They're going to experience early hip rotation, and their weight's going to transfer forward early, and they're going to have a tough time blocking out their energy, okay, on their front leg. They'll probably you'll probably see an angle like this the whole time, where Jacob DeGrom, who does it efficiently, of course, right? He gets there at release. And like I said, if this was in game, it would be even better. This is like maybe his first live, or not live, but first time on the mound officially since returning from his injury here. So, yeah, so I think that's important to note, is that like this step one, a good, stable, strong, and consistent foundation is important. So the rest of the mechanics have a much higher chance of falling in order, okay? Like if we're toe dominant and we're unstable, they go hand in hand, okay? Instability is inconsistent. And if we're inconsistent, it's going to be hard to adjust, and it's going to be hard to improve in a certain like position or routine. Do you know what I'm saying? The more inconsistent we are, the less we're practicing one delivery, right? So the less room we have to grow in that delivery. So stability is extremely important, and it's important to note too that it might not feel great right away because we're dealing with muscle memory, and muscle memory has a lot to do with comfortability, what the body's comfortable with doing. So when you make a change, it might feel uncomfortable, but think about keeping that foot flush to the ground for as long as possible. And another good way of thinking about doing that is that shin bone. We want to keep our shin bone straight up and down, or, as straight as we possibly can for as long as possible as we're getting down the mound, okay? That will keep our foot in the ground, keep us back, and then allow us to transfer our energy late and lead leg block at release. And that's what we'll leave it at for today. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.